3, 2, 1. Gentlemen, start your engines.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Motorsports Digest. We had a lot of action in the motorsports world. This episode is sponsored by Gutswear. It is your one-stop shop for all your IndyCar diecast needs. It's Tom at Gutswear at eBay. It's, like I said, a one-stop shop for all your IndyCar needs, or Le Mans or F1. So we were at Darlington. It was a throwback race. And Darlington is known as too tough to tame, so, which it is. So I'm going to let Garrett talk about what Darlington was all about, because my dude got taken out again.
Yeah.
For the second time.
Yeah. 2020 is not letting the number 9 team at all have any luck at Darlington. The Lady in Black, too tough to tame. But it all started with Xfinity Series. You had Denny Hamlin running the Xfinity race. For sure, everyone thought he was going to win it. But last second, the Lady in Black said no, and he slammed into the wall with I want to say it was Justin Allgaier. I
think it was Ross Chastain. I don't know.
Yeah, him and Ross went into the wall, and then Brandon Jones ended up winning the race off of that. So I didn't really watch the race. I watched the highlights from as they were happening, but I heard it was a really good race. It was nose to nose with Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain and multiple others. Sunday, we had the truck race. I didn't watch it. But I honestly don't even remember who won that. But Sunday night, raced under the lights for literally 3 hours, I think, because they had 7 cautions. Great race, though. Other than that, I mean, you had Harvick, who dominated that race. I mean, he stayed in the back of the pack, but then when it was time to go, he went. It wasn't any, surprise to see Harvick win it 7 times this season. He's won. So we'll just the next 2 race brings on for the round of 12. After that, we go to the round.
Yeah. And I really think I think Kevin Harvick's going to get the championship this year. So.
Yeah. Well, right now it's anybody's game. I mean.
Yeah.
You can win a race and get locked in, and be tied with Harvick. So.
Yeah. Which they've got 2 more races in the first round of playoffs, and then because it's 3-3. Yeah, so it's each round is consisted of 3.
And then the last one is
Phoenix.
But man, Kyle had a chance to win it, dude. He did. He was leading, and then a caution came out, and then he got told to pit, causing him to go down to 9th. And then he just couldn't get back up there.
Maybe next year, bud.
And Clint Boyer, after the race, their cars were getting tested, and they had 2 lug nuts on each of their cars that were improperly on there. They were just loose.
Yeah.
So both of them will not have their crew chiefs the next round. and their team got fined $20,000. So,
$20,000. Jeez.
Okay.
and Chase Elliott got wrecked out,
Yeah.
which
By
everyone
Martin Truex Jr.
can't even tell me that that wouldn't be a badass finish to see those two. The way that they were running, it was literally
Yeah.
half a second. Like,
And my personal take on it is it looked like Martin just overdrove it, like overshot the turn.
a lot of the drivers did on Sunday. They were a lot
Yeah.
of going into turn one really loose.
Yeah.
Three was the same thing. Turn four, turn two. Well, all the turns really. Actually, I think there was at least 5 or 6 cars that were just going in too fast and getting loose.
Yeah.
It was. There was something that happened I was going to bring up, but I can't think of it now. I'm spacing it, man.
Alrighty. Well, so we, as Motorsports Digest, have decided to open up the world of motorsports to be your motorsports podcast. So, with that being said, we have news from all types of sources. I was trying to look up news for Formula One, which I'm sure there is news, but I can't find it. It's not that I'm not looking, it's like I cannot find it. So we're doing like short track, and we're opening up to Formula Drift, NHRA, and all that. So it's gonna be fun. Formula Drift, moving on to there. We're gonna keep it simple and sweet. Adam LZ, everybody knows who that is. YouTube drift guy. I've been watching him for a long time, actually, probably about 2-3 years. He actually debuted in Pro 1 and Formula Drift, and his first battle was Chris the Force Forsberg. Sadly, the pressure got to him, and he overshot the outside clipping points, and sadly he did not prevail to the next round. So with that being said, Pro 2 winners are Chelsea Denofa is first, Odie Bakshi's is second, and then Ryan Turk is third. And that's Pro 2. I need Pro 1 and Pro. But with that being, I think, what's his name? Frederick Osbo got first in Pro. So, which Osbo is a force to be reckoned with. Him, the Forsberg, and Ryan Turk are all veterans in the sport. They've been going, and they Turk and Osbo both have sponsorships by Toyota, so they've always had the coolest cars, and they've always had the best equipment. So that was fun to watch, especially Garrett, since I used to drift and not being in a sport.
Yeah, it's bittersweet.
Yeah. We also had the U.S. Nationals
Yeah,
here in Indianapolis, which if you're not a drag racing fan, that's probably one of the biggest events of the year.
yeah, I saw that. I saw what's his name broke his losing streak at the Nationals.
There's too many winners to name, but I'm just going to give you Top Fuel, Funny Car, and Pro Stock winners. Sean Langdon, he won Top Fuel, so he's got a Wally now. Jack Beckman, my favorite NHRA driver, he won the Funny Car class. Erica Enders, so yes, she's a female, and she was kicking ass. Like, she was dominating. nonstop. So that was awesome to see. So I'm really excited for that. I wish I could have gone, but I just couldn't. So, and I don't think there's anything going on with IndyCar. I honestly didn't check, but since they've been running double headers, I don't think they would be racing this weekend or probably the next.
I think they race at
I know it's Mid Ohio, I think, soon.
Gateway.
Yeah, that's it. Like, they already raced at Gateway.
Well, the news thing keeps saying that there's a new lineup for Gateway. I don't know.
Really? I know that they're doing what's it called? Mid Ohio. Fuck. The 25th or 26th or 26th or 27th. It's one of those days. But we are going to throw it down to Cameron, who is going to give you all the USAC news.
Well, I'll go ahead and start with USAC. This past weekend, USAC had two midget races at Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex. I honestly didn't really watch the two races. I was at Anderson all week from Wednesday to Saturday, dealing with the little 500, and I'll get to that here in a minute. But I'll go ahead and give you the top five of both nights. Night one was first was Cannon McIntosh. Second was Chris Wyndham. Third was Tyler Courtney. Fourth was Tanner Thorson. And fifth was the infamous Thomas Meserol. And night two, first was Buddy Kofoid. Second was Tyler Courtney. Third was Chris Wyndham. Fourth was Tanner Carrick. And fifth was Spencer Baston. Spencer just joined this year, Keith Coons Motorsports, and I got to give some props to him. He's been doing a pretty badass job while running one of his cars. I've watched him a few times, and I've actually raced against him a few times too. And like I said, he's doing a really amazing job this year. So props to him. Moving on from USAC, this is not a USAC sanctioned race. I do believe a long time ago when it first started that it was, but like I said, it's not anymore. But just to give everybody a little bit of a background, if you've never heard of the Little 500 before, the Anderson Payless Little 500 is a race that happens every year in May, the day before the Indianapolis 500. It's a week-long process. It starts on Wednesday and it ends at Saturday about 3 o'clock in the morning. Practice is on Wednesday. Qualifying is on Thursday. If you don't do good in qualifying, they have bump day on Friday, which is where you race to get that final spot in the Little 500. And then Saturday's race day. 33 cars make the race on a quarter-mile banked racetrack. Now, if you sit there and picture to yourself 33 race cars going around that track at the same time, there's no room. The whole track is full of cars the entire time. There is no space on the racetrack where there is not a race car. I mean, I've been going to this race since I was a kid, and I have always been fascinated with it. There's always something in store when it comes to this race. This year was the 72nd running of the Payless Little 500. I'll go ahead and start with Wednesday, which was practice day. I was there all week with the Nolan Racing team. I was helping out Cody Swanson. And obviously, if you don't know, these are pavement sprint cars that were racing this past weekend. So practice day went really well for pretty much everybody. Everybody was really close to each other with times. I'll go ahead and let you know who did really kind of the best. The top 5 people in qualifying on Wednesday was Tyler Roaring was first, Cody Swanson was second, Aaron Pierce was third, Shane Hollingsworth was fourth, and Jacob Wilson was fifth. Now, all 5 of them are within 0.6 seconds of each other. First place was 11.296, and fifth place was 11.463. So these guys, I mean, if I'm being honest, when everything started this week, it was probably the closest I've ever seen anybody at Anderson. Everybody was just doing real well. People were throwing down times that I'd never seen before. It was really, really a sight to see. Let's see here. Going down to Thursday, the next day, qualifying for everybody once again was just everybody was so close. I mean, it was ridiculous. You know, every time somebody would go out, you'd think, man, the next person's going to break the track record. Like, that's how close things were. Everybody was just laying the hammer down on these damn cars. I mean, and it's funny too, because I usually am either back in the pit area waiting for Cody to come back. So I usually don't go watch qualifying and practice, so I'm already there when he comes back. But I decided to go ahead and run up to the pit stands and watch a few practice sessions and qualifying sessions. And when you're sitting at the fourth turn, right above the corner, just seeing them things go down the straightaway is unreal. They're only on the straightaway for like a second, and then they're right back into the corner. These cars are just magnificent. I love watching them. But back to pole day here. Thursday, we had I'll give you the top five. Cody Swanson got the pole with an 11.19 second lap.
Who?
Cody Swanson.
And
yeah.
So you said 11 point what?
It's an 11.19.
Yeah, the little 500 track record is set by Aaron Pierce, and it is a 10.94.
10.94.
So he's literally 0.2 of a second off of him.
I know. And like I said, these guys were laying down laps. Like, it was nothing. For some reason, it's not showing me these times. I only know Cody's time for sure because I'm with him. But I will give you the rest of them. Tyler Roaring was second fastest. Kyle Hamilton was third fastest. Fourth fastest was Dakota Armstrong. And fifth was Brian Gerstner. Like I said, we actually believed at the beginning of the day that Chris Neuenswander, who qualified sixth, was actually going to be the pole sitter because he had 11.28, I do believe, and he was the fastest. But once the top five guys came out and started laying down these laps, they just took it away. I mean, everybody that is in the top five is either at 11.2 or under 11.2, and that's fast. I mean, you got to think about that. That's fast, you know. But pole day went real well. I know that bump day there was only 5 cars that had to be bumped. There's usually about 45 cars that enter for the little 500, and only 33 of them make it. But with this year, with COVID and stuff, I think the time it's because it's usually in May. So it being moved all the way to September, I personally believe that some people just couldn't make it this year. It just interfered with too much stuff. So I think we only had 38 cars show up this time instead of 44. So, like I said, it wasn't really much going on during bump day. But I do know that Justin Harper in the number 53 car won the bump day race. So he was the 33rd and final person to make it in to the little 500. There's a lot of big names in this race. There's Cody Swanson, Kyle Hamilton, Chris Neuenswander, Bobby Santos III, Caleb Armstrong, Aaron Pierce, Jerry Coons Jr., Jacob Wilson, Kyle O'Gara, Shane Hollingsworth, Dalton Armstrong, Jeff Bloom, Eric Gordon, Brian Gossel, Kenny Schrader.
Kenny Schrader, hell
yeah. If you're familiar with racing, you know who Kenny Schrader is. Chris Jagger, and that's some pretty big names that are in there. Oh, Ronnie Wooderman too. It was actually his rookie year this year, and he was running with Terry Broadus as car owner. Tom Brewer with Corey Setzer. You know who Mrs. Sarah Brewer is, don't you? From where we
Yeah.
went to school. Tom Brewer is her husband, and he's a part of a race team that raced the sprint cars, and his driver
Oh,
for the
yeah.
Little 500 was Corey Setzer in the
That's
number 24
awesome.
car. Yeah. So like I said with the poll, the starting lineup was the top three, and it's funny because last year for the 71st running of the Little 500, the starting lineup was Cody Swanson, Kyle Hamilton, and Tyler Roaring. For the 72nd and Anderson Little 500, which was this year, it was Cody Swanson, Tyler Roaring, and Kyle Hamilton. So the only thing that changed was Kyle went to third and Tyler went to second. These three guys, I got to give a huge props to them. Cody Swanson, three-time Little 5, well, actually it might be four. It's either 3 or 4-time Little 500 winner. He won it 2 years in a row with Nolan Racing. And then Kyle Hamilton, he won, I do believe it was 3 years ago, he won the Little 500. And Tyler Roaring, he's never won the Little 500, but he has always his ground for this race. I mean, he just does a fabulous job. And I actually thought for a while that he was going to win it this year because he was leading a lot of that race. And even after he pitted, he went right back out there and gained the lead again. But these three guys, for sitting on the pole, I mean, it was a hell of a race to watch because
I bet.
these guys fought it out. And throughout the race, really the top people to watch was obviously Cody Swanson, Tyler Roaring. They were both up front almost the entire time. Dakota Armstrong was up there with them too. Chris Neuenswander did pretty good. He was holding with them for a little while, and then he kind of fell back. Trying to think. Shane Hollingsworth. Shane Hollingsworth is also with Nolan Racing. He drives the yellow number 20 sprint car. He used to race for Nolan Racing a long time ago. He was the main driver for Nolan Racing. He raced all the Silver Crown cars, sprint cars, everything. He was the Nolan Racing driver. And he was a hell of a race car driver. I mean, he won Gene a lot of Silver Crown titles. Unfortunately, what really ended Shane's racing career was he was in a pretty bad accident in a Silver Crown car when he raced for Gene. And he has kids. He had a good job, and I think that he really just kind of thought to himself, there's no sense in putting myself in danger like this when I've got 2 kids, I've got a family. So fortunately, though, he does still race his sprint car for the majority of races at Anderson. And every time he shows up to this race, he kicks ass.
Yeah.
I mean, for not racing year round and only showing up for just a few of these races, he's a good driver. I mean, he actually led near the end of the race a lot of laps. He led over 100 laps. Just unfortunately, they made a bad pit stop decision. They should have pit stop one more time to change tires, and Shane probably would have won that race. Because his tires, when he pulled on he got second. When Shane pulled onto the front stretch, his tires they're bald. I mean, they were gone.
I've never seen a pit stop and something like that.
It's interesting. I would look it up on YouTube. I'd look up Little 500 pit stops. It is the most interesting thing you'll ever watch, and it's stressful too. I mean,
Oh, I bet.
it's scary sometimes. Yeah, so we can move on to the race results here, I do believe. So when it comes to the top 3 that started, Cody Swanson, unfortunately, like I said, led most of the race. About mid-race, after our first pit stop, we got stuck behind a lap car that would just not get out of the way. And that was, no, I'm not going to name names. But he was holding up traffic for a while, and it didn't really give Cody an opportunity to catch up to Bobby Santos, who was running in first at the time. Stuff like that happens, people just get in the way and they're being stubborn. They just don't want to move. But we finally, after a few, bumper to bumper bumps from Cody, he finally got out of the way. But then we had to make our second pit stop by that time. We went back out there. We were running the race. We got back in the lead after the second pit stop, and the engine blew. So I think it was, and also I think the engine blew on lap like 425. So we didn't have that much to go. We only had to get to 500.
Yeah.
But that's racing. Things like that happen, unfortunately. And then your second place starter, Tyler Roaring, ended up third. I don't really know if anything bad happened. I think that just some of the other people got better as the night went along. So they were just running quicker times than him. But good job to Tyler Roaring. I think that's the second year in the row that he's been in the top 3. So that's a huge accomplishment for the little 500. And then the third place starter, Kyle Hamilton, he actually got butted out in the very beginning of the race. I think it was around lap 100. I don't know what happened to his car, but all I see out of the corner of my eye is that red number 5 car just pulling right into the pit area. And I look over and Kyle's getting out of it, and they did not continue after he got out. I like I said, I don't know what happened. But let's see here. And then that's how the top 3 finished that started. And here's the moment y'all have been waiting for. The first place winner of the 72nd Payless Little 500 was Bobby Santos III. Bobby Santos is a hell of a race car driver. He's never won the Little 500. He's always participated in it for as long as he's been racing. I do believe that he's actually been in the top 3 finishing positions the past 3 years too. So this past weekend was definitely a huge accomplishment for Bobby Santos III. When he got out of the car, he was very, very emotional, very happy to have been able to win this race. He came out of, I think, and me being a race car driver, and specifically with this kind of stuff, he was really smart, is what he was. He took his time. When you have 500 laps, there is no need
Yeah, there's
to be
no
in a
need to rush
hurry.
to the front.
Yeah.
Exactly. And when you take your time with this kind of race, you save your tires and you save your fuel. And that's really the key to this race, is to just not be in a hurry. And I really think that that's what Bobby did. Bobby came, and he came to the lead in the last 100 laps. He just kind of slowly worked his way up there. And once he crossed that finish line with the checkered flag, he was labeled the 72nd Payless Little 500 winner. So that's how my weekend went. That's what I was focused on. So
Yeah, and we're going to me and Cameron are going to Gas City this weekend. Well, this Friday actually.
Oh, man.
Yep.
So
I gotta get I really want to come, but I gotta fix my brakes before I can come up there. So
yeah, you need a new car, bud.
we race at Gas City at pit gates open at 3:00.
Yeah, so if y'all want to come out and stop by and say hey, we will be there.
let's
we'll be in the kiddie car.
let's take it back to Darlington, where Cameron's boy Chase Elliott gets wrecked out. 15 laps to go, man.
Yeah, it's a damn shame, isn't it?
It is. Elliot, he had some words to say over the radio.
Well, I mean, as anybody would.
Yeah,
I mean,
his
this is
exact
like,
words were not fucking clear, not fucking clear.
yeah,
You know, him and JGR, man. I'm telling you, there's going to be a fight breaking out soon.
oh yeah, and it's always been that way. You know, you had, I think it was his rookie year, him and Denny Hamlin at Martinsville Speedway. They had an altercation. You got Kyle Busch dumping him. I mean, there's a plethora of things
Yeah,
that's happening to this, young gun. So, we are headed to Richmond Raceway this
Yeah.
Saturday as a night race, 400 laps, 7:30 p.m.
yeah.
My boy probably won't win, but I'm gonna have high hopes.
Hey man,
I mean,
anything can happen.
yeah. I mean, it's 400 laps too. I think it's a 2.5 mile. No, I think it's just a 1.5 mile track.
Yeah, but
So
let's talk about the ending. Kevin Harvick obviously wins, but that number 3 car, it started out literally 2 laps to go. He's 10 cars away, dude. I mean, there's 10 car lengths in between him and Kevin Harvick, man. At the end of the race, they said he was less than a car length away from passing Harvick when he passed the finish line.
really,
Yeah, it's because I had to go pick up Madison, so I was listening to it on the NASCAR app, but they were like
yeah.
10 cars, he's down to 8 cars, down to 5, down to 3, down to 2. Kevin Harvick wins.
Oh my gosh, I'd be so mad.
Oh, dude. But
All right, so go ahead.
Martin Truex had the fastest lap out there that night, though, and
I ain't even gonna lie. He was on a roll.
he was. Dude. Yeah, I think at 16 laps before they wrecked, when they got down to 15 and they wrecked, I think everybody before that thought this is going to be a brawl, all out. Whoever leads at the end of this is going to be one of these two.
Yeah.
Truex went up to take the high line, and
Yeah, he didn't take the high line. He was straight shot. I did get the dates wrong for the IndyCar Mid-Ohio race. It is actually this weekend. Yeah, so it's September 12th and the 13th. So they are doing a doubleheader. It will be broadcasted on NBCSN at 4:30 p.m.
did you see that you buy tickets for the Harvest DP at the
Are they letting fans there?
right now? They're selling tickets, so.
Well, then I might have to get some.
Yeah, because I went on to IMS's website yesterday, and it said Harvest GP October 8th and 9th or something, because it's a double header.
Yeah, because they're bringing the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship cars there.
Yeah, and it said buy tickets now. So
Well, Motorsports Digest might be taking a trip. Hopefully, never mind. There is talks of Juan Pablo Montoya wanting to get back into IndyCar, but he said that he will not do it unless if it's like an opportunity. I can't remember the exact quote, but pretty much if it's not like a dime and a dozen, he's not going to take it because he wants a really good team. I mean, Penske was a really good team, but he's wanting more out of it. Pretty much. I'll have to find the article and I'll post it on the Facebook page. But since Acura and Team Penske are no longer going to be IMSA
yeah,
team or contender, he's kind of out of a car.
Yeah.
So
Well-
hopefully within the next couple of months before the race season's over, we can have some news and shine some light on that.
As long as he doesn't want to come back to NASCAR, I don't care.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Nope. But other than that, I think that's all the news that I've got to cover.
Yeah, they're not really much coming out of NASCAR other than the suspensions of crew chiefs and
Yeah, which isn't it's nothing new. It was really bad at the start of the year, but
yeah, and it's all because of lug nuts or ballasts. That's all it is, man.
yep.
We saw Ryan Blaney's crew chief literally an hour before got told, "Hey, you can't be the crew chief. You're suspended for this race," and they got fined
Oh my!
and deducted 10 points. So,
I would be pissed. I'd be pissed.
especially for Ryan Blaney, dude.
Yeah.
Miracle he got into the playoffs because he won a race, correct?
I don't think so. I think he's just on positions.
Won he? But it sucks to see that, especially such a young
I
driver.
know. And I mean, yeah, he just like Chase Elliott. I think it was him, Bubba, and Chase all in the NASCAR next class, and Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott are the ones pushing towards the top.
Yeah. Bubba Wallace, he's just there because of all the controversy surrounding him from this season. It's
Also, just before I forget, USAC also has a doubleheader this weekend. They're for the AMSOIL USAC National Sprint Car Series. They race for first responders on September 11th at Bloomington Speedway in Bloomington, Indiana. And they also race on September 12th at Lincoln Park Speedway in Putnamville, Indiana. So there's going to be a lot of big leagues there. So if you're in the Indianapolis area, go check it out.
Bloomington's only an
Oh,
hour.
and like Cameron said, I'll be at Gas City on Friday, September 11th.
Yeah, he will be racing. I'll just be in the pits.
Yeah, we're also, I do believe, racing for first responders as well. So if you aren't doing anything this weekend, it's a busy weekend. So come out and support your local racetracks and watch a good show.
I think that's all.
What were you saying, Garrett?
I mean, I don't really have anything else to say other than, share the podcast.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say other than go check out Gutswear. He's a big sponsor for this channel. He's given nothing but his time and his effort to help us provide this diecast for you, or podcast for you guys.
Oh, well, the diecast too, but
Oh yeah, the diecast, but we are going to be in the works of some more giveaways come. I think having 2 giveaways back to back was fun, but we're gonna, because I'm gonna be in the process of moving here in the next week or so. So I think once we get squared away, then we can do another one. This time it may be a 118. This time it may not be. Nobody knows. So I just want to thank you guys for watching. Show your grandma, show your mom, show your dad. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys in the next episode.